Yes, I looked at the Nikko Duluth because when I was at school, I used to play the saxophone, not the saxophone, the clarinet. And I'd actually forgotten that I used to play the clarinet, actually. So I sort of reached the level sort of 4 or 5, and I used to play in the school band. And I thought, I haven't seen a reed for years. So that was quite interesting, actually. And I can also remember when I was 14, I played a solo, and my grandmother on my dad's side actually came to see me at the school panto, and it was the first time that she'd been out for several years. So
Oh, that's
I remember
lovely.
that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that was brought back by
Well,
seeing
I just
the
looked,
reed.
yes, I opened the box and I looked at the wreaths and I thought, oh gosh, I haven't seen these for years. And I used to have them lying around the home all over the place, and it used to drive my mum round the bend, actually. And because I was looking at the sizing as well, because I think they were saxophone wreaths, and I thought they were, I'm sure they were almost the same size as the clarinet wreaths that I used to have, or maybe slightly bigger. But no, I hadn't seen those for a long time. And I remember the name as well, Rico.
Oh, it's still the same make.
Same make,
Wow.
same make,
So
same
that-
name.
I remember seeing the key, the AA key.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, was always on my dad's bunch of keys. Never left home without it. And it was, if I recall, it's the telephones on the for this emergency telephone used
That's
to be on the
right, yeah,
motorway, and they used to have lock boxes. Rather than one phone, I think it's one phone for everybody now,
think
isn't
so,
it?
yeah.
But yeah, the AA, and this used to be the key that opened the phone. So every AA member held the key and was able to access help from the phone along the way if they needed it. Yeah.
Fabulous. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And what did you find?
A couple of items for myself. The cards, the playing cards. It's one of them. My mum and dad split up when I was quite young. I was 7, and we used to go and stay. My brother and I used to go and stay at my dad's every weekend. And we'd always pop to the shop. We'd go for a swim first. It was a routine. We'd go to the swimming bars at South Norwood, and then we'd go into the bakery and choose a cake. And then we'd go home and we'd play cards.
Yeah.
And he taught me so many different games, and now I've taught my children, and they teach their friends, and it's gone down.
All,
Yes,
yeah.
so
What
it's gone down
kind
the
of
line.
games? Like
Rummy,
and...
yeah, we play rummy, blackjack, pontoon. What's the other one? Chase the Ace, Old Maid, loads of games, all bring about all these memories.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. And then the stone as well, the pebble.
Yeah.
That reminded me when I was a young girl going to visit my nan in Eastbourne. She lived there for many years until last year. She sadly passed away of dementia. But I used to take her down to the beach in a wheelchair, and we used to pick out, look for all the different, we looked for shells, but amongst the pebbles. And then I used to, myself and my children did subsequently throw the pebbles into the water, like a lot of children do. Yeah, but we used to take a bucket, and we used to go home, and she used to, in her garden, she had her borders with all the pebbles. So that brought back that memory as well. So, yeah, it's really lovely to think back to that.
Oh, brilliant. That's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, mine's quite bizarre because it's really similar. The play, well, I had this as well because I've got these sort of dollies at home where all the knitted baby clothes are. And actually, when I went round my mum's at Christmas, these dolls were out because a niece and nephew, a younger niece and nephew came round, so she still gets these dolls out. I must look at them and think they're so old now. And my nan made all the clothes for us, so this is a sort of, pattern and everything. And so that really does remind me of my nan. And like the playing cards, my granddad, he was a very, very quiet man and private, and was quite sort of stiff and a bit, And I remember this particular Christmas, I didn't really know him that well because he was quite sort of cold man. And this particular Christmas, we got out the cards, and I think, and that's what I always remember him by, because I actually got to know him through playing cards, because he came, he's a completely different person. His personality came out. So, and the stone is exactly the same as my mum, and that she takes all her grandkids to. hermbag, collects all the stones and puts them in the garden. So yeah, it's really quite strange. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never thought the pebble would be something, and yet earlier on
Yeah,
as
my-
well, the group,
yeah.
it brought similar memories back.
Yeah,
of
the
going to
Pebbles quite a
seaside
biggie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got the tobacco tin, or the backy tin, as my dad would have called it. And yeah, my dad has smoked, well, had smoked for as long as I can remember. And growing up as a child, it was kind of the smell of the tobacco itself. I don't ever remember being able to smell cigarette smoke, not until much after he'd kind of given up, and then I kind of became aware of it. But the smell of the tobacco was kind of really comforting. He used to smoke around 100 a day. Yeah, he worked as a manual worker, working outside. And it was just something Daddy did. And I actually teethed on his tobacco tin. He had an old Holborn one though. And obviously it's really cold, so that's what I used to chew on. And when I was kind of really crying as a child, he just put me in the car, start the engine, light a cigarette, and apparently by the time he finished, I'd be asleep. But yeah, having gone from like 100 a day and kind of constantly chaining, it just being what Dad does. 18 years ago, or nearly 19 now, my sister was born, and the day before she was born, he stopped completely. Just went,
Wow.
I'm not going to be alive to see her grow up. If I don't, I'm going to stop. And has never ever smoked since, which is just kind of amazing, really. Yeah, it's good enough. But we've still got a few tins and stuff, and they still remind me of Daddy.
I was drawn to this as well. This is my grandpa who smoked roll-ups. But he, what I was fascinated about is that he had moulded the tin to create one of those rolling machines. And I was fascinated by it. He built it himself. He was really good with his hands. He was an electrician by trade. He was a musician as well. He was from a rich family, and he gave it all up to marry my gran because he met her in the cinema, because he played in the pit in the cinema and she was an usherette. So they were completely different classes. My grandpa's family disowned him, and he was, yeah, but he was again like your like your grandfather. I think that was quite remote. It kind of didn't talk much, but I loved watching him do this. There was something really tactile, and the smell. I remember the smell. So, and I was really disappointed when my sister-in-law smokes, and she smokes roll-ups, and apparently you can just buy these machines. But my grandpa had made this, and I just thought it was so magic. So I picked that one, and I also picked the badge, the Royal Air Force badge, but not because of the Royal Air Force, but because of the embroidery. Because it really reminds me of embroidered postcards. I'm a textile artist, so I love anything that touchy-feely, feels good. And it reminds me of a postcard my mum, I think, had from years ago, from their honeymoon perhaps, of a Spanish lady with all the ruffles of her castanet and her flamenco dress, all in actual fabrics and embroidered. It was just gorgeous. I've no idea where it is now, but that's what that reminded me of. So it's kind of a different memory to your previous participant.
That's a loom thing.
That's a darning.
That's a darning loom or something.
So you actually use socks over it and weave in the yarns to darn the holes in the wool socks. They're very, very collectible now.
Are they?
Vintage haberdashery is rocketing in price, yeah, because people like the nostalgia, because it does. Yeah.
She used to stick them on, and oh gosh, yeah.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So you can pull it over, and you get different sizes of them as well, depending on how big an area you have to darn. So this is where you. It does. It's brilliant. It's such a classic tool, really good, and it feels nice again. And that's where you get those little packs. They're very particularly shaped of very fine wool wrapped around, and they'd be in different colours, or they might be in nylon colours to darn your nylons. Back in the days where we mended things instead of chucking out buying new ones.
That's what I was going to say, kind of, that was why I picked this up, because like tins and things, and you know, my grandparents would have tons of tins, and they would, this one's tea and it's got a sugar label on, and you just save it and put stuff in it. And like in his sheds he had you know, jars and things that had all his screws in, and you did just save things or mend things or reuse them. Same as with socks. Like I wouldn't drink darning some socks and buy another pair for 99p. And then, and it's just that kind of idea of like actually a few years ago I wrote an article for this like green living website about kind of how do you know what to eat. Like should you have fair trade, or you know, organic, or homegrown, or locally grown, or you know, farmers market. And it's like there's all these different things. And I was just like, you just kind of, you know, vegetarian, whatever. And I was like, well, you just do what your grandparents did. Like, you know, you grew stuff in the garden because that's what you did. You had to buy things locally. Just that's what you did. You didn't have loads of wrapping. You know, everything you did have was recycled. You know, you made stuff from scratch, and it wasn't some kind of lifestyle choice. It was just life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very throwaway. Well,
I was thinking the other day actually, because like I still get my milk delivered, and that's recycling, isn't it? You know, everybody had their milk delivered, didn't they?
Yeah.
And now it's plastic cartons into the recycling and random. I thought, why don't they go back to delivering everybody's milk?
So you know Arla, they're the milk company.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, how do we get? I used to work for a research and insight company. I'm like, how can we get people to eat, like, drink more milk? And they were looking at all these kind of like hipster bars and things where they like serve things in jars and stuff. And they were like, and things like Graze boxes where you get like snacks delivered. They were like, we could do it like a subscription service, and you know, you kind of get your milk in like kind of cool artisan bottles, and I'm like, that's a Milkman. That is a subscription thing coming around, and and I think it's some kind of revolutionary idea.
Fancy.
Exactly.
probably
Now, I still
charge
put my
more.
bottles out, and then they collect the bottles, and then you get the bottles in the next day. I mean, it's just so easy, isn't it?
But it's also a community service as well, because they watch out for particularly the vulnerable people and make sure that if they don't see the bottles coming out, they know there might be a problem, they can alert.
But we used to have that. We used to, you know, we used to have regular milkman and the milk cart. And my brother, even when he was at school, was up at the crack of dawn. And that's how long the milkman came, because he saw us all grow up as children. Then my brother ended up, you know, as a sort of Saturday job, doing the milk round with him, and you know, that's all gone.
There are still milkmen. There was a chap that arrives on his bike to my neighbour in Duluth. I can hear it about 2:30 in the morning. It's unreal.
But it was just the noise, that noise of the milk flow
Yeah.
and the clanking of the bottles in the morning, especially in the summertime. It was
Quite a comforting
yeah,
sound,
not-
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Free school milk, I can remember as well. When it was frozen, you had to kind of really poke through the cream.
I used to do a paper round, you know, when I was thinking back, I used to get up in the dark, I wouldn't let my children do that.
No.
But I did, I used to walk around the streets, down the country lanes, delivering the papers.
We used to have blue tips that used to go into the milk.
That
If
used
you
to
left
be-
it outside, you know, if it was outside too long, they used to come and drink the milk, didn't they?
Or in the winter, you'd bring it in and it was lumps of frozen.
Frozen,
So in
yeah.
the summer, it was sort of like
Cheese. I just wanted to go back to these because it's not a specific thing, but I do remember clackers. Does anybody else remember those? They were really so dangerous. And they were banned in the end because they used to explode if you got them on. But that kind of, I was so proud when I came back. So I think it would be interesting to have pieces from different eras, depending on what age range you might be, or you might be remembering your children's youth. Like if you had a Thunderbird Tracy Island in there, that would be my boy, you know, desperate to go get.
Del Boy thing.
Like, things that everyone's saying. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember my mum telling me that. So I'm almost remembering a memory.
Previous generation.
I think that